We now return to Etc., Etc., Etc. And here's your host, Nicole Jacinto.
Okay, welcome back, folks. We are here with Pia Morato to talk about the Spanish language initiative. What's happened, where it's going, how it's being sustained, what are the global opportunities if you speak the Spanish language, and we're also going to relate it to why is it relevant to us as Filipinos. But before we get to that, let me read you the next set of horoscopes for the day. For today, October 7, 2011, Friday. Leo, your answers are likely to be thoughtful today, and you may be able to look around the corner and spot some good solutions to some upcoming problems. It's a good time to regroup. My eyes, what's wrong with my eyes? Okay, Virgo, every now and then you need to reorganize just to see if things could be better some other way. And now is the time to go for it. Good ideas are floating through your mind, so grab one and run with it. Floating to your mind. I love how they say that. Floating through your mind. Okay, Libra, it's hard for anyone to feel bad around you today. Your aura of positive energy just makes them all warm and fuzzy inside. It's a great day to end grudges or to make amends for past mistakes. That's a nice horoscope. And then we get to Scorpio. Your domestic situation needs a change, though that most likely does not mean you need to take off on your own. Okay, so no breaking up and no leaving of anyone. A simple redecoration or remodel should be enough to keep you happy. I guess to keep you or you and your partner or you and your family happy. Anyway, we'll leave the last batch of horoscopes for later, and we'll go back to our conversation with Pia Morato. Okay, Pia, just to start off, no, maybe you can tell us like how the Spanish language is so related to, let's say, Tagalog.
Right.
Maybe you can give us some examples of that.
Yeah, okay. You know, Nicole, there are thousands of loan words in 170 native Philippine languages. So some of the examples I can give you, like for example, in Tagalog, we have a word called avante.
Oh, yeah.
Abante, diba?
Yeah.
In Spanish, we say avante.
it's
And in
just-
English, it means both moving ahead or forward. Right? We also, since we're talking about education, in
That's right.
Tagalog, we have educación.
Yes.
In Spanish, we say educación.
So it's the same.
It's the same. Of course, in English, it means education,
Mm-hmm.
right? And of course, we have the suffixes and the prefixes. So
Yeah.
we're so fond of adding all these suffixes, like let's say mahjongero.
Yes.
Mahjong is actually a Chinese word, but
Mm-hmm.
we attach the suffix ero, which is a Spanish suffix.
Yeah, mahjongero. What other examples do you have?
Or
There's
boxingero,
boxingero.
right? And then we also have alascador.
Alascador. I'm sure a lot of people are
For
familiar
example,
with that.
and ador is also a suffix.
Ador is also a suffix.
Right.
Okay. All right. So see, it's very relevant in that sense because we use a lot of elements. And
It's
we
good to
can-
note also that even in law, we have a
Yes.
lot of Spanish words, and I'm sure all the lawyers out there can
Yes.
attest to that. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of words are in their law books, or when they have to go to school and learn about all these things for law,
for law.
right?
Then they
Yeah.
know the root word. It's just like when you're learning philosophy.
Exactly.
And somebody says, exactly, when somebody says philos or whatever, then you kind of just learn a little bit of Greek, but you get it. You get what it
Right,
means because it means
right.
this and that language, or you know the Latin root of something. But
Right.
Spanish is so much more accessible actually than the old Greek and Latin.
Exactly.
And we use it a lot. We actually use it in our daily language. By the way, if you guys wanna join in the conversation, call us at 897-8374 or 895-4460. Trust me, you'll love talking to Pia. Okay, now in terms of the relevance, what else can you tell us about about this initiative, and like how's it going? Where has it gone? Where has it been?
Right. I think one of the important things I'd like to say is that when this initiative started, we were really serious about it, and Secretary Jesly Lapus really believed in how important it was. We're not just talking about Spanish also. We're talking about other foreign languages, which he also encouraged. Okay, but going
Let's start
back
with Spanish
Yes.
also, because it's much easier for us actually to connect to it because
Right.
we'll recognize words.
right.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
And with regard to the Spanish language, Secretary Lapus in 2010 went to signed a very valuable memorandum of agreement together with the Ministry of Education of Spain, ACID, and Instituto Cervantes to further strengthen this, what we call a relearning
A relearning
of the
yes,
Spanish
yes.
language, because we had this before in our educational system, and it's very useful. We used to use it also for trade.
Yeah, for
Right?
trade. I mean, for hundreds of years we used it for
Exactly.
trade. And to this day, you still can.
Exactly.
Because-
what more now,
Yeah, what
right?
more
The world's
now?
so small.
Exactly. And then you have examples of I mean, as you were saying, it's not just Spain. It's other countries in the world, particularly Latin America,
Right.
South America, Central America, and even the people in the U.S. speak Spanish. I mean,
Right.
there are so many Spanish speakers. And you know what? I'll tell you from personal experience, it can really open doors. Even if you
Yes.
just know a little bit.
Right.
Even if it's the simplest thing, even if it's the simplest thing, like going to a store.
Right.
I would be ashamed of because I can only really speak Spanish when I'm sick or drunk or something, but I'd be with my mom,
Or
let's
when you
say,
wanna make a point.
yeah. When we visit New York City, and then
Right.
my mom would just be she noticed that somebody may speak Spanish, and she just automatically just say something in Spanish to the person, and then they'd be friendlier, and suddenly everything can be done. The doors are open to
Exactly.
you, and they don't think you're one of those snobby Americans.
Exactly.
Sorry,
And just
or
on the
one of
basic
those
level, right?
Basic level, you get to
Yeah.
relate. Because actually,
Right.
what I noticed with Spanish speakers is that I can't say the same for French speakers. Sorry. Sorry again. Although there are a lot of nice
Right.
French people out there and Parisians. If you pronounce something wrong in French, you're ugh, that's not the way to pronounce it, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're okay, fine. But with Spanish speakers mostly, when you try a little bit, I'm sure that you have those snobby people as well, some are in Madrid or something, but when you try a little bit, they tend to encourage you, and they're oh, great.
Yeah.
It's
They
not-
are so excited, especially when you try.
Yeah.
Really, they get so excited.
Just like Filipinos, if you have, of course, you have the people who make fun of those who can't speak Tagalog, whatever. But at the same time, for us, right? When foreigners or something try to say, magkano ba yan? We're oh, okay. It's the same sort of temperament that we have. Or they're trying to speak Tagalog,
Right.
so we just start smiling when there's a tourist or something, magkano yung ganon, papunta ako sa ganyan.
Right.
It sounds funny to us, but we're okay, we're more
Yeah,
helpful.
you're smiling
Yeah.
because the bridge is actually crossed.
Exactly.
Right? And on a personal level, let's say, even if you're traveling, I've had that experience where in Asia, I think I was in Bangkok or something, there were a lot of Spaniards, and they really couldn't understand what was being told to them, because we had to wait. Our flight was delayed. And I felt so happy to be able to help and explain, okay, Españoles, here, we
Yes.
stay here in one line, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I did have Filipino OFWs with me at that time, and they did the same thing. And
Yeah.
that bridge is crossed because you were able to communicate.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think it's wonderful to just keep learning as many languages as we can. I don't think it takes anything away from us. I think it
Right.
adds. Even if you're learning a dialect, I mean, by all
Right.
means, learn it. If you're a foreigner right now, you don't speak Tagalog or Visayan or Ilocano, learn it if you can.
Exactly.
And you see, you meet people, they take our languages like Tagalog or Ilocano or Kapampangan more seriously, or Ilonggo or Hiligaynon or Visayan, and they want to learn it so they can be here and communicate with us. So I just think it adds so much more to a person in terms of intellect and even their spirituality and how they view the world when you speak another language.
Right. Especially to all the Chabacanas out
Yes,
there,
yeah, the
right?
Chabacano.
Yeah, there are
Chabacano.
600 plus people who speak Chabacano, right?
And
600,000.
Chabacano, is it Visayan mixed with Spanish, kind of?
Yeah, it's nice, and I don't really understand it, but there are words that I understand. So again, that bridge is crossed, right? I think I got
Exactly.
what you said.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And I mean, and the practical way of going about it, I think, is the way that you're going about it. Like, okay, so we're gonna take one language at a time, and you just happen to be advocating for the Spanish language.
Yes.
Which you know the most, you're most familiar
Yes.
with, and you know how. I mean, you know, you go to Spain, you concentrate on that. So I commend you for that.
Thank
so
you.